Wow.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast. This is the Real Deal Fishing Podcast. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mike. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Last one before Christmas, man.
I know it makes me feel so. I enjoy this so much. I was thinking about it today. I'm just like, maybe we could do a podcast on Christmas Eve, or maybe we could do it on Christmas. And then I'm just like, man, I have my little kids right here. They're
Yeah.
going to be like ripping at presents and stuff. I'll have to
Yeah,
fight them
we
away from the tree.
we
I
wouldn't
just
get
get so
very far
excited to
on that
talk to
one.
you for an hour. So,
But yeah, we got a interesting show for you. We kind of enjoyed the last one, didn't we, Mike? We had a topic and we talked about it, but then we got off topic and that was so much fun and it kind of reinvigorated the conversations that we usually have, which are just about nothing most times, or gear, or mostly gear and food.
nothing and everything
Gear,
is the
food, and
way it
fishing.
seems to go.
You know. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you're listening, thanks for the Boom Squad coming in to chat. If you want to support the fishing podcast, Real Deal Fishing Podcast, or Palmetto Cats, head on over to www.shoppalmettocats.com. Get yourself some merch. And everything you buy, of course, goes towards the show and upgrading things on the show and making it better. So we thank you for that. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure that you share it out. Let other people know about it so we can get a bigger base. And if you want to see what we look like and come hang out, go on over to YouTube, click that subscribe button. If you want to join the Boom Squad like Lizabella and James Kirkpatrick has, then you can come over and join the live chat while we're recording. So thank you for the Boom Squad members, and thank you for all out there listening. We really enjoyed doing this. So to the 60 or 70 that listen on various platforms, we really appreciate you. So Mike, any you just actually I know the answer to this question. You got a birthday coming up,
Yeah. We have to
and
talk
uh,
about that.
and well, you don't have to talk about your birthday, but you got a present. We were allowed to buy a cool present, and it's a gear thing, and it's pretty neat. You want to kind of talk about that? What was it?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah. You know, I've been listening and trying to pay attention to what I say and what I do a lot of, and apparently I say about every time you ask me something. I try to compose myself, and I don't think that actually counts as a filler word like but for me it must because it's like a nervous twitch or something that I always say there. But the the present, I was encouraged by Kristen to look into an item, and I had considered them a couple years ago when I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to have a little kid by the water. I'm going to have to cut my time down.
Right.
I have to figure out how to keep the kid busy. I got to figure out how to do this safely. Otherwise, I can't fish.
Right.
Then I'm thinking to myself, how do I maximize my opportunities given that my opportunities are going to be less often and they are going to be for less hours in a row? Something that was brought to my attention was that you could get a castable sonar bobber. And
Mm.
that way, cast it out there. Are
Mm-hmm.
there really any fish there? Are you putting your bait close
Mm-hmm.
enough to said fish?
Mm-hmm.
At what depth are they? What are you seeing in there? What kind of structure? Can you work that structure?
Mm-hmm.
And I had
Now
looked
those have been
into,
around for a while, but just not
yeah,
not as fancy as you got.
yeah,
You're getting
they
fancier
had
now.
been the ones that I looked at maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. Mainly were the company Deeper,
Mm.
and I have to admit, I thought that they looked pretty cool. One of my friends had gotten one, and he had mapped out the entire beach bank
Nice.
area that we normally fish.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a lot of us, and since Murillo's seem to be seem to all enjoy fishing, there's usually a lot of us. And he actually gave me a lot of information that I didn't really think about regarding where we were fishing because there's an old river channel right there that they had filled up this reservoir, and we knew that. But his information gave us more information about casting further and going to the other side of the channel.
Mm.
And it did confirm a lot of what we had thought, that the fish are not only in the channel, but also up on the flat, on the let's
Mhm.
say the near side of the channel.
So
But
so does it mark fish? Like,
it
is it just like a fish finder?
yeah, it's a fish finder.
So you
It
have
sees
now
them.
you have an for bank fishermen, you have the
Mhm.
Navionics app, which we've had for a little while now. You can get that for like $14 a month or a year, not a month. And you got that on your phone, so you know what your general if you're fishing a major body of water, major.
Yep,
So that's what the
yep.
Navionics. So now you have a mapping system and you have a fish locator.
And this thing will take, if you cast it out, you can combine your maps. You
Mhm.
can save it, and at the very least, then you know where the structure's at.
Mhm.
But yes, it does. It does show you where the fish are. Now, this thing, you can drag it behind a boat or a small
Mhm.
boat, or you could drag it behind a canoe or
Mhm.
a kayak or anything that you're using. It works that way as well. But yes, we would be using it right off the bank. Now,
What's it called
Kristen,
again for those listening?
this is made by Garmin.
Garmin.
Now, the only reason why I thought about it a little bit more, once she mentioned it, I did not dismiss it. First of all, Kristen's brilliant and she thinks that way and she's extremely organized. So that made me say, hey, pay attention. She's telling
Mhm.
you something, it's important.
Right.
And when do you think she ever encourages me to buy anything for fishing?
She
Never.
usually doesn't have to. I mean, to be
No, no.
honest.
Well, that's true. You got me on that one. But she's like, "Hey, look at this. This is pretty cool." She's like, "Can you have a birthday?" And obviously, it's Christmas. She's like, "So think about it." Now, I didn't like that it cost $150 for the GPS model, but the GPS means that you can mark points and everything all
Yeah,
over it.
well
And
worth it.
when I looked at it, it really looked like it was the exact same screen that I had seen on Spencer's boat. And he does have Garmin products. And I'm just like, oh, well, no wonder it looks familiar. I can kind of tell what I'm looking at here because he
Mhm.
helped explain it to me when we were out on fishing adventures. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is really a good idea. So I tried to handle all the due diligence. I looked at all the other products again. Obviously, there's several companies out there, some of them extremely good options. And this one, I still kept coming back to it just because, to my eyes, I believe I understand what I'm reading on the screens.
Mhm.
And then, since Kristen is even more brilliant than I give her credit for, she's like, well, it could keep Lauren busy too. She could cast it out and map this stuff out for you while you're dealing with the other gear to get out. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking to myself, that's awesome. She would like doing that. It would provide data. Now, since I'm a little
Now,
particular in how I
just for
purchase
everybody
things,
listening, if you listen, like, tonight or tomorrow, you can still get it before Christmas if you wanted to get it for somebody.
yeah, on
Garmin
Amazon,
Striker Cast. It's on
yeah,
Amazon.com, and it says if you order now, if you're a Prime member, then you'll get it Thursday, December 23rd in the next 2 hours.
yep,
So I imagine tomorrow you might get it on Christmas Eve.
mine is supposed to arrive tomorrow. I pulled the trigger on it yesterday, and I happen to have won a $50 Amazon gift card from one of our
Amazon.
friends. I won a $50 Amazon gift card. The person at that point wanted to remain anonymous, and then later on they reached out just to make sure that I got it, because there was apparently some issues with an outbound truck, and
Mm.
it crashed and there was damage and there were some packages that were held up.
Hmm.
So I did confirm that. So they helped with this purchase. I also used some of my rewards points. So I cut that price in half. Then
Wow.
I started feeling really good about it.
So
And
you
I'm
sound
thinking,
like me when I got my fish finder.
yeah,
You know,
good.
I wasn't planning on that was gonna be a next year purchase somewhere down the line, but Black Friday, they had that deal, it knocked it down like $500. And then I had a donation for some money, and then I had a couple extra dollars myself, so I got
Hmm.
a steal.
It's that's when you have to listen. When there's so many things pointing you in a direction,
Hmm.
you have to start thinking that someone's talking to you and you got to pay attention. And let's face it, we want what we want, we like what we like.
Hmm.
I personally don't have any other things that I take quite this seriously in my chosen lifestyle.
Hmm.
So I have way too many rods and I have way too many reels and other equipment like I recently acquired quite a few of the spooks that we were talking about,
Oh yeah.
demon dragon style floats,
Hmm.
and they came in yesterday. And I
Mm.
have to tell you, I think they're all really gorgeous looking, and I think that
That the sumo ones.
yeah, the little sumo ones, and I
Hmm.
like them because they are smaller,
Hmm.
and there's some under the tree, and Leia has figured that out, and she likes to pick that particular
Shake it.
package up and shake it. And then she says, "Daddy, they rattle." I'm like, "Yeah, there's rattles in there.
Yeah, they do.
Yep, yep, rattles in there for Uncle Mexi Cat." But I got them at such a good deal. Then they offered me more of them, even
Hmm.
cheaper. I mean, I can't believe it. I
That's
was
how
talking.
those websites work, though. I mean, they have software designed to upsell,
Yeah,
or
but
down sale, however you want to talk about it.
I guess I bought a lot of stuff there, and I shouldn't say it too loudly, so I think people are still awake upstairs. But
Mm.
I'm sure there's been probably 7 or 8 rods and couple couple shirts and a couple packages of the hooks. I like their hooks quite a bit, actually.
Mhm.
I usually grade my hooks based on how many times I stab myself and how many band-aids I have to use while pre-rigging up some rigs for my tackle
Yeah.
tag. And I got to tell you, those caused a lot of damage to my hands. And then I got some spooks and I got something else. I can't remember. But
Well,
they offered me a deal. I was checking out, Kevin, and they said, "Hey, would you like to get some more of these?" And the special offer deal was $5 for a 3-pack.
can't beat that.
And here's the thing: you could take let's I put 3 in the cart. I put 3 at this color, add to the cart. 2 of that color, add to the cart. So I literally added like another 25 floats
Mhm.
and it took it. I'm like, well, I was like, then I was thinking to myself, I don't want to just push this button once and have it. I only get one at $5. I would like a few more at $5, and I will share.
Mhm.
And Trish needs some. I need
Mhm.
some. Mexicat needs some. Let's do this. And now I have more rattles than a baby factory. A boss
Sounds like
baby
a rap
wouldn't be
song.
happier with all these rattles.
I got more rattles than a baby, fool.
Yeah.
So you've been talking about forever that you're gonna get a net. So is it gonna take like Whisker Seeker or Monster to get you in one of those deal loops on the internet for you to actually buy one, or are you just gonna
Well,
settle for one from Wally World?
my I will not settle for the Wally World net. And
Mhm,
I
mhm,
have gone to Shields. We have Shields here
mhm,
and Bass Pro and all the nets there that are the size that I would look for with a nice long sturdy
mhm,
handle are in the 150 to $200 range, and I don't want to pay that much. So
mhm.
you look online and you start,
Unfortunately, I mean that's kind of where they run. I
yeah,
mean the Monster rod holder net that I have is $135.
yeah, but here's what I was going to say.
Mm.
The ones that I see at Bass Pro, I do not believe are the sturdiness
Oh, I got you.
as that hydro web net that you have, nor do I believe that the netting itself
Mhm.
is as high quality. So that's where I say
It's kind of,
go
it's
get.
indestructible too. I mean,
I think it'd probably get hit
you
by a
gotta,
missile.
if you break a hydro web net, like a handle on it or the hoop or whatever, you've done something monumental, and Steve would probably give you your money back.
He probably would.
if
He probably
if y'all
would.
that are listening don't know what we're talking about, there's a company called Monster Rod Holders, and it's made by a friend of ours, or it's owned by a friend of ours named Steve Douglas. He's kind of like the YouTube catfishing OG, and he's got these nets. They're called hydro web nets, and basically it's a, a tubular handle with a good grip on it, good paint job, and it's got one of those pins, and it locks into the handle, and you can collapse it and open it up. But then it's got this netting that's kind of rubber coated, so that it doesn't hurt the fish, and it doesn't really, like, hooks don't get in the netting. Like, they'll get in between the actual holes in the net, but they won't get in between the little fibers of the net. And they're expensive. He's got three versions. He's got a 45, I think it is, which is kind of like his kayak net. And then he's got an HD 80, which is the one I use, which says it'll hold up to an 80-pound catfish, but I've seen Steve Douglas put a 100-pounder in there. And then he's got the HD 110 or 120 or something like that, which is, you can fit myself or Michael in there. So that's what we're talking about. the Hydro Web by Monster Rod Holders.
It's a beautiful classic style, but that is one well built item. And I looked at them when we were at CatCon Kansas City, and then I'll admit it, I've kind of turned into a Whisker Seeker tackle fanboy. It's not because they're based out of
Mm-hmm.
uh, a city that is
Well, I mean,
literally
they're
15
Chinese
minutes from my
company.
house. But
They're just like anything. I mean, they're like
yeah,
pieces of fun. They're based in China.
yep,
But I know that their home bases in the United States is in Iowa. So, but no,
yep,
I like the Whisker Seeker rod, man. I've been using it. I wish more fish would bite it, so I could
yep.
test it out more.
See, and that's why when I buy rods, I buy them in pairs or quads, whatever you want, quadruplets. So that way I try to make sure I get something to bite every time on that one rod they want to try.
Mhm.
I said I got buying issues. There's part of it. I was talking to Mexicat the other day. I was like, if I'd only bought one of each of these things, I bet you I probably would have all of them by now. And he's just like, dude, man, you can't. He's like, you
I'm
can't do
getting
that to
close.
yourself.
I'm getting close, man. I need to get rid
Well,
of some rods.
well,
I mean,
swap meet's coming.
I got multiple. I got all the Muddy River rods. I have two Blue Cat rods casting. I have two flathead casting rods, Apollo Smith casting rod, and I have four flathead spinning rods that he sent me. I've got two of the Super Cats from Rippin' Lips. One's one's a medium heavy. I got my new Whisker Seeker rod. Um, Man, I catch the fever. I've got just about one of every one of those too. What do you think about those? You got a chance to try one out? You and another buddy of ours were kind of skeptical about it. Didn't really want to try it out, and then you got the whole one.
Yep, that's all it took too. I got a recommendation from another friend of ours stating that he felt the quality was all there and equal to the Whisker Seeker product. And I told a lot of people last year I didn't want to believe that the Whisker Seeker was absolutely the best rod at that price point,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the most versatile, or the only thing that I needed. And maybe that's a little hype hating, and maybe it's just being skeptical, and maybe it's also because, hey, I was going to buy whatever I wanted whenever I wanted it anyway, so I might as well tell myself a story so that way I can go about my business like I was going to do anyway,
Right.
but sound like I had some sort of a mission.
Mm-hmm.
So the our friend was just like, hey man, wait till you hold one. He's like, I think the quality's equal. They're a little
Mhm.
bit different, and actually, it was pretty interesting
There's a
to
lot of
hear that.
similarities.
Yes, there really are, and I felt that when you held both of them, uh, the the Big Cat Fever was maybe a little bit lighter weight. The eyelets on it, now I'm looking at a spinning model here. The eyelets on it were slightly larger. I believe that helps you gain some casting distance should you want it, and I do. So I really liked that. The the butt end of the rod was maybe ever so slightly shorter by an inch
Yeah,
or
the
two.
butt is shorter.
It was short by about an inch or two. Now, the foregrip on the handle was extended by those couple inches that you
Mhm.
lost in there. So to me, that makes it versatile, yet the balance is slightly different.
Mhm.
The eyelets are not anywhere near the same position. And that's where everything changes to maintain that nice balance.
Mhm.
Um, I bought one. As soon as I got home from Kansas City, I kicked myself because I didn't grab two of them.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it and I'm like, well, maybe I did that because this one's medium heavy. And I thought maybe I could try a medium.
Mhm.
And looking at the specifications, yes, probably. After actually rigging it up, putting what is a typical sinker and rig on there and a nice hunk of bait, I wouldn't want a medium. So I'm kind of
I
glad that
have
I
both.
didn't do it.
I have the medium, and the medium is whippy, but it's what
Mhm.
not all, but a lot of the guides up here use. They use ugly stick catfish rod, the original ones, and they use the big cat fever medium rods.
Oh,
And I always thought that was crazy. I was like, the big catfish, you want the stiffer rod, and but here's the thing. So when you're dragging baits, so Paul Blackwell, for instance, he's a trophy catfish guide here on Santee Cooper, and he has two sets of big cat fever rods. He's actually got Hellcats now, but he has a medium set of 8, and he's got a medium heavy set of 8. And his medium heavy set, or his medium set, those are for dragging baits. And if you think about it, um, you're not casting a whole heck of a lot when you're dragging baits. Your weight is lighter. Um, and in Santee Cooper, usually your bait is smaller anyway. But you don't have as much weight to cast out, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 ounces, because you're using the slinky weight. So you don't really need the casting distance on it. And
mhm.
then what they use it for is when you drag and baits, if that sinker gets caught a little bit and that rod tip goes down, when it lets go, it doesn't spring back and jerk the bait. It floats back because it's so limber. And so the bait presentation doesn't scare the fish. It actually looks more like a wounded bait fish when it releases. So they like that play in the rod, which I always thought it was counterintuitive. I thought you wanted a stiffer tip so you knew when it was a fish or when it was a bottom. But I'm learning. So then his medium heavy set is what he uses when he's anchored, so he can throw a little heavier weight. So I thought that was interesting. So really,
Very interesting.
you have the right rod for what you want to do. A medium heavy would be the right rod.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the search for the net still continues. I still have a
Mhm.
few more days to really think about it. There's an end of the year sale on monster rod holders, and I believe this is on several items, if not all of them. You'll have to go check it out. But the code is EOY 2021,
Mhm.
and it takes off a nice percentage. Um, so I could get a net,
Yep, 20%
sent,
off.
sent, and get the medium size one. I could get it sent to my house for 124 bucks.
Mhm.
And right now, the Whisker Seeker medium size net as well, probably about the same. Very different in construction. There's
Yeah,
more
it's made
plastic
out of
to it. There's
plastic,
some
isn't it?
snaps, so
Isn't it made out of plastic?
yeah, there's plastic involved.
Mhm.
I don't think that it's completely plastic. I think that it's like plastic, and then there's other composite and this and that, blah blah blah. But I've also seen it on on the boat, and I haven't seen people use it on the bank much, but also too, I'm not the guy that just, tosses my net on a bunch of rocks.
Mhm.
I mean, I set my stuff down nicely. I try not to
Hmm.
beat the beat the snot out of it and beat the life out of it.
Mhm.
And I'm also kind of hesitant on that typical net with the tube handle,
Mhm.
because no matter what it seems like I'm always putting a little bend in that tube, and then it doesn't slide nicely in and out to
Yeah,
store.
this tube, you're not gonna have that problem with that.
Yeah, I didn't think that I would. It feels different. It doesn't feel like it's aluminum. It feels like it's a fiberglass or a
Yeah,
graphite
it's like a
composite something.
fiberglass.
It's definitely
Mhm.
some sort of different, but, so I don't know, I'm a little hesitant on it here and there. Plus, I figure, hey, everything's gonna freeze here anytime, so what am I really rushing for?
Well,
I
I
can wait
mean,
until
that
cat call in
net has been
Kentucky.
tried and true, though. If you watch Steve Douglas, you've seen him pick up fish in that thing way heavier than, uh, any lake that you're fishing in
Yep,
right now. And
yep,
so it'll be able to handle it. You're not gonna bend any handles with that one.
yep.
But it is also about how you pick it up. So we talked about Walmart
Absolutely.
nets, and I did ruin a Walmart net handle, but I also did lift it wrong. I was lifting it with the handle instead of tipping the handle up and grabbing the hoop and lifting straight up like you're supposed to. So that
Yep,
is something to be said. I see people doing that all the time. They'll net the fish and then put one hand back here on the back like a shovel and pick it. And I'm like, you're gonna bend the hoop on that net. Um, but you know all about that. But
yeah, my brother broke the biggest, nicest net that I ever had, and I got it at a garage sale for 5
Mhm.
bucks, and it was probably like $150
Mm,
old school Frable net. Well,
mhm,
he noticed there was a bunch of carp and buffalo just hanging out right by this big, slab of concrete,
mhm,
that a way for there was a way for fish to travel underneath the road from Big Spirit Lake to
mhm,
Little Spirit Lake. So he just reached down there with the net, and he must have had 6 or 7 of them in this gigantic net that I had, but then he pulled up just like you said and snapped.
mhm.
I don't think he got any of them up. We just wanted to see how big they were just to see what they actually weighed, because we could sight
Right.
fish. We could see fish everywhere there, but we weren't getting them to bite, and then we were just kind of wondering how much they weighed. He wasn't actually gonna harm them or anything.
Now I'm looking
He
at this
harmed the net.
Whisker Seeker net. They got a deal on it right now. So they
Oh,
got
we got
the
a deal?
139.95. You get a free carrying case, an extra hand woven net, and free shipping. I don't know. That might be your deal right there, bro. I mean, I'm all about the monster rod holder, uh, the monster net, but I want one that's gonna lift 100-pound fish if I ever get one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so look
And
at the
you're
next size up, the medium-sized one,
Mhm.
you go up, and then it's 159.
So you don't want the 19 by 23?
No, do the next
Oh, okay.
size. Did you put it in your cart so you could see all the free stuff you get?
No, no, I didn't. I'm just looking on their
Yeah,
website. It's
click
it's
on
right
it.
there.
You'll see my dilemma.
Well, I've already messed up.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
just
well, here's the dilemma. Here's the dilemma. When you
uh,
go to the next size, it's 159,
mhm,
but when you go over $150, you get a free headlamp, a free towel, a $25 gift card
Mm-hmm.
and a sticker. And then when you buy any of those Extend nets, you get an Extend net sticker. And let's face it, hey, that's 2 stickers, and we love stickers.
Well, you get the free carrying case.
You still get the free carrying
You
case. You
get the
still get
extra
the
net.
free extra net. You get free shipping.
Mm-hmm.
And they just sent me an email stating that I'm one of the top 1,000 retail customers. So they gave me a $10 off coupon code.
All right, stop the show. How to identify if you have a problem.
Yeah.
If a company emails you and says, you're one of our top spending 1,000 spender.
And we talked about this in our pre-show warm-up. And I'm telling you, everybody, I got to know what my real number is. I have got to know. I know there is not a chance on this earth that I'm customer 998. I really don't feel like I'm number one, but I probably have a shot at it there in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I placed so many orders and I hit free shipping every time. And I bought things that I probably haven't even used yet, probably haven't even gotten out of the containers yet. So I might be number one, and I don't care if I'm number one. I just care that
That's
I'm not
funny.
number 998. I think that I'm probably in the top 50. I might be in the top 10, and I think I have a way of finding out. So if
Yeah.
everybody else is as intrigued as I am,
Let's
I'm
figure it
gonna
out.
work
Have it
my
ready
source.
for next week and let us know what number you are.
Yeah. And if anybody happens to guess, anybody wants to send some guesses in, whoever's the closest,
Yeah, just
maybe I'll
email
send
me,
you a little.
palmettocats@gmail.com.
Yeah, send it in. Send it into the email, and maybe you can win a prize.
Yeah, we'll give you a prize. Maybe something from Whisker Seeker. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you get that medium net, you get the netting, you get the bag, you get the free shipping, you get the catfish cooler decal, you get the XD decal, you get catfish breading, $25 VIP card. So really, it's it's only $29 or
Yes.
$124. You get a headlamp and a rag for $159 and $10 off of that. So you're getting it for $149.95. I think you
Yeah.
just found your net, bro.
I don't know why I haven't pushed the button yet. It's all in my cart. I'm
No,
ready.
I mean, I
You know?
honestly, in my opinion, I've never used a Whisker Seeker net, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. But I've seen other people use it, and it just looks a little flimsy to me. But maybe they were using it wrong. I don't know.
And then you have to remember, I probably am not going to encounter any fish over 40 pounds. So the net is probably overkill. The medium is probably overkill. I probably need the small one, to be honest. But I like that extending
Yeah.
handle option.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to say anything bad about the other net, but I believe all of them have the same length
Yep, it's the
handle.
same handle. You're right. No, we're
If
just
the
talking
if
facts
the
here.
bigger ones had an extra 6, 8, 12 inches
Mhm.
on their handle,
Mhm.
I'd probably think differently of it. Now, I'm a large human being from a width perspective. I'm not the tallest man in the world, never will be.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking to myself, if I just put my hands down, they're literally nearly 4 foot away from apart from each other as it is.
Mhm.
So that's why I like the idea of the handle being longer than just 48 inches.
Right.
That's the main reason a specification standard why I lean towards that net.
Mhm. I
But
mean, there you
all
go.
any
I don't see what you're waiting on.
I didn't understand what I was waiting on either, but apparently I've been waiting on the wrong nothing.
I think you just found your new net, bro.
I don't think it's ever been cheaper. And then you have to consider all the little extras. And I got to tell you,
Mhm.
that microfiber towel on its own is seriously one of the coolest and most used pieces that I actually of tackle that I actually used this last year.
There you go.
And it really got all those little shad
Hmm.
scales off my hands, kept that then it kept them off my rods and reels.
There you go.
Man, I gotta tell you, all that
Whiskers and Stripes was saying that in the chat.
really
Yep.
awesome. Awesome. Well, definitely I like that. I
Hmm.
like that's a shared opinion. I mean, it's a fantastic item. It has a little clip on, a little carabiner.
Yeah.
So once I got
I
it,
just got one from
I never went
Catfish.
without it because it's attached.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like golf. You get your towel attached.
Yeah, I don't golf. That I think that's it's a little bit too much of a finesse game for my athletic abilities.
Uh huh.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you talking me through that and
Yeah, man.
definitely
I
giving
mean,
me
I
other things
listen.
to
I love
consider.
my monster net. I probably would never use any other net, but I'm fishing from a boat primarily.
Yep.
I only need the handle on it's plenty long enough to reach down into the water. So we're using it for different applications, and I think that's an important thing for all fishermen to consider when listening to people talk about gear.
Yeah.
It may be your color, or it may be your company or whatever. I love monster rod holders, my monster rod holders, and the net, and I'll use them forever. As far as I can see. But if I were to get the Whisker Seeker net fishing from a boat, it wouldn't work for me. It probably wouldn't. It probably would work, but it wouldn't work the same as what I like.
Yeah.
And if you're from the bank, would the monster rod holder net get it done? Absolutely, it's a tank, but it wouldn't be the most comfortable thing for you to use. So that's what people have to think about, and that's partially why I buy so many different items, rods, or some people give them to me, some companies send them to me, some companies give me a discount or whatever, or I'll just go buy them. That way I can use it. And when people ask me, "Hey, what do you think of that Whisker Seeker rod?" I'll say, "Hey, I think it's awesome. It's a good rod. You can feel the quality in it." Or, "What do you think of that monster net?" And I'm like, "Well, if you catch big fish from a boat, that's what you want." So that's something to consider, and I think that's fair. So we haven't talked about food yet today, and I think that's what really got us passionate last week. You planning on any Christmas barbecuing or Christmas smoking or anything like that?
No, I'm not planning on it, and I hope I don't get talked into it. I haven't even looked at my smoker in,
Mm.
I don't know, almost a year. And it's not that I'm afraid, and it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. I could get it done. But that being said, you mentioned holiday food. I believe that this is the holiday when my Aunt Janice makes scallop potatoes. And it's unfortunate that there is a little bit of milk involved in her recipe, I believe, but I do not care. I will take stomach pills and I will take any negative effects that happens. I have got to have some of those potatoes.
Mm.
And I think I think Christmas for the Murillos usually means a ham, and I don't usually get down on the ham just because they put a lot of sweet stuff on it,
Yeah.
and I try to stay away from that as much as possible
Mm.
since I'm type 2 diabetic. But Kristen's family usually does soups. Again, some milk is involved in some, but there's always a chicken noodle, so there's always a good option. And I have to admit that they always offer me salad. They always buy grilled chicken breasts for me to put on my salad. Her parents are amazing people. They're so giving, so kind, so accepting, and and accommodating too. Because as soon as all this happened, there were several Sunday night dinners. I wouldn't even go over there just because it's so good. I want to eat it, but I shouldn't
Mhm.
eat that. Shouldn't eat that.
That's like my
Um,
aunt Sandy's house. We went there
yeah.
for Christmas. They have you know, their Christmas party or whatever, and it's always been a tradition that we always go over there. And she had, the macaroni and cheese, the sweet ham, the turkey, the all the fixings, and I mean, when I talk about sweets, like I'm talking about a tin, like 5 inches deep and 12-inch circumference, full of like this marshmallowy chocolate peanut butter nut type thing.
Oh,
And that, it's not, I have willpower, not much of it, but I don't, if I'm trying to lose weight, which I am, I can look past it and I can say, oh, I've had enough in my past and I can not have it this time. But then she gives you the guilt trip. She's 5'2", 98 pounds soaking wet. She's survived cancer twice. But she looks at you with her eyes. She's like, "Did you take you something to take home?" "No, ma'am." "Well, come on." And she grabs you a bag and just starts shoving stuff in it. And I'm like, "Well, I guess we're taking home, 3
yep.
pounds of chocolate and some mac and cheese." And then some people would say, "Well, you just don't eat it, Kevin." But I can't waste food like that.
I really try not to waste food.
Yeah.
I threw away part of a candy cane. Don't tell my kids I did it. They'll probably jump on me. But
Candy cane's not real food.
that's not real food. Yeah, I can get away with that. And I did see the comment in the chat that Mike Turner wants some scalloped potatoes, so that's awesome. One of the things that I don't usually go over to her Kristen's parents' house for on Sunday night dinner is called gunk, and it is a scalloped potato, but I believe that they add a bunch of ground beef inside of there,
Mm,
and
mhm,
then they bake that all in big old like cake pan kind of things or
mhm.
whatever those are called,
It's
those
like chicken crack.
nice and deep, and oh, it's good.
You ever
I
had
would have
chicken
never.
crack?
No, what's that?
That's basically you put chicken in a slow cooker with heavy cream and cheese and butter, and you just let it slow cook
Oh
until
Lord,
it just
yeah,
becomes just crack. I mean, it's
yeah,
awesome. Cream cheese,
yeah. I found myself mesmerized
bacon bits.
by Brian B. Catfishing
Mm,
video of him making a bunch of mac and cheese. I'm like,
mm,
oh, it was just layers of cheese, milk,
mhm,
cream, more cheese, different cheese, this other cheese, and then he put it all in the pan with all the noodles, and then he put more cheese on it and more cheese on it. I'm like, oh, I would never survive one spoon of that, but it sure looks like what has to happen. And Kristen's brother makes really good baked mac and cheese
mm.
every now and then. I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm gonna eat my fork full of it, and I'm gonna suffer. I'm gonna
That was
suffer the next
good.
3 days like a man, and,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be okay.
Well, I forgot food on my fishing trip yesterday. I went
Yeah.
fishing solo yesterday, and I had the enclosure up. It was a brisk. It was, I mean, wind was blowing like 9, 10 miles per hour, not sustained, but pretty much all day. And even though it was in the 40s, the low 40s, it felt like 25 when that wind blew and cut you. But I had the enclosure up, and man, let me tell you, inside that enclosure with that buddy heater on, I had a pair of pants and a hoodie and nothing but a t-shirt under it, and I was in heaven. I mean, I didn't want to go out to check the baits, but I was on the boat warm enough to where I didn't have to wear a coat. And I didn't catch many. I caught two, and I'm gonna try to string a video together with some past fish that didn't make videos. Maybe I'll make one out for Christmas Day. But I found myself. We talked about the enclosure and me being able to stay longer. I fished from like 7 o'clock until I don't know whenever the sun went down. So like 5:45. So almost 12 hours.
That's a full
And
shift.
It was. I mean, it felt so. I went to work. I went to fishing. I went fishing. I went to fishing.
I went to work, he
I
said.
went to fishing. I went fishing before Anna had got out of bed, and I got home after she got home. So I did. I fished a full work day, which kind of made me think about man, that could really be the full time job. If YouTube ever took off. Anyway, I'm forgetting the point. The point is that kept telling myself, man, I could stay out here for a long time, for even more than this, but I didn't have any food with me.
Oh,
I didn't bring any food. All I had was a biscuit from the gas station that morning,
mhm.
and then Kool-Aid water. I mean, that was it. So I found myself, I'm like, man, I could run up. There's a Gilligan's restaurant on the river. I could run up there and get some fried shrimp or something from them. But I don't know. That's more money to spend.
Yeah.
I found myself coming to terms with the fact that I spend more money making YouTube than I make from YouTube. I filled up the boat yesterday and it was like $58. I'm like, man, I don't remember a video that made $58. So I start thinking about that stuff a little more when I'm out on the boat.
When you fill up your boat,
Uh huh.
how many times do you think you can go out fishing on that tank of gas?
It depends. So that's a good question. I thought about that too. So yesterday, because I was on the river, I was burning up and down the river. So, I try not to open it up to full throttle unless I'm going a short stint, but I'll open it up and then back off like three quarters, not three quarters, like almost a quarter of the way.
Uh-huh.
But I ran the full length of uh, the west branch of the Cooper River. So I burned a half a tank. So I burnt a little more than half a tank, like 11 gallons of gas. So that's a lot for a boat. It's a 20
Yeah.
gallon tank. So I burnt, more than halfway through it. But if I'm on the lake and I'm doing a lot of drifting or dragging or something like that, I burn less gas, a lot
Mhm.
less. So lake trips, I could do 2 weeks probably, if I did nothing but drifting and dragging. I could do maybe 4 trips, 4 or 5 trips, and that's if I'm not running a lot. So that's not bad, and
That's not
that
bad at
four
all.
stroke doesn't really burn it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had some food in there, I seriously would have contemplated camping out there last night. Not last night, Monday night.
Well,
Which was
that's a
that
good
last night?
lesson.
Yeah, that was last night.
Yeah. That's a good lesson because you know what? If you were on a fire bite,
hmm
you probably would have stayed there until finally you felt like you were gonna starve to death, and
Yeah,
then that would have been
but
good.
but
So,
if you're on a fire bite, then you're
yeah.
busy and you're not
Yep.
really thinking about food. So it's just a sitting there. I did get so comfortable riding up river that I was dozing off. So I was sleep driving.
Mhm. I do that to work every morning.
Yeah, that I try not to. I made the mistake. So I drive this little Honda back and forth to work, and it has the lane assist on it. So if you do drift, like it corrects for you, or the
Oh.
the, s- the steering wheel will rattle, so it wakes you up. And
Oh.
Anna and I were talking about. Well, I was talking about. She was listening. I was thinking about taking the truck to Kentucky for the catfish conference, just so I could put more stuff in it, like rods or whatever. And I said, well, it's not as good on gas, and it doesn't wake you up when you fall asleep. And she's like, what? I said, yeah, it's more forgiving. She goes, how much do you fall asleep? And I said, never mind. Let's just change the subject.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, my truck doesn't do that.
No, your truck is a little older. This is like a 2020.
You know?
So, are you getting the girls anything fishing related for Christmas?
Yes, they have, some stuff under the tree. They have whisker stick for each one of them.
Ooh.
And Lauren's is a spinning, Leia's is a casting. There was a two pack whisker stick sale deal where you got a free rag
Mm.
and I don't know, a sticker or something. I can't remember. So I took advantage of that one. They did Black Friday every Friday starting Halloween night all the way through Black Friday. And then after that, they put more holiday sales out, which were basically extensions of several of the sales.
Right.
But then some of the other deals weren't in there, and some of them
Mhm.
were callbacks from the previous, but maybe at just an ever so slightly different cost.
Mhm.
But still just amazing. And Lauren noticed that today. She's like, "Hey, I noticed these are over here." She's like, and I built the wrap so that you could actually it's got a top
Mhm.
and a bottom, and I didn't tape it together. And so she grabbed it. She's like, "I've noticed that this actually comes up." And she's like, I think I know what that is. So I get it. She's like, "But you didn't tape that shut." And I'm like, "I know." So now the other
It's not a real big secret what she's getting then.
no, not that one. And it's never going to be. I
Mhm.
mean, can you how creatively could you wrap a rod?
Well, my dad would, he would do oh, I see the 2 whisker stick package. That's interesting.
Oh, they are nice.
Mm.
Everybody's like, "Yeah, it's just a dock demon." No, it's not. Those little suckers are heavy. They are built now. Everybody's like, "Yeah, it's their ice rod." I
Mhm.
don't think so.
What would you
It
consider it?
may have started that way,
Mhm.
but I'm telling you right now, I picked that little rod up and I put a reel on it just because I was interested,
Mhm.
because I wanted to know if I needed a couple for myself,
Mhm.
because I got issues that are insane.
Mhm.
But I'm telling you, those are cool little rods, and they are well built. That is not a Dock Demon with a foam handle where you screw the handle down
Mhm.
and it's the whole rod handle to get. Oh, no, no, no. That is a well built little rod, and I can understand after holding it why they sell them for 39 bucks a piece.
Mhm.
Well, this is a better deal than that, and you get a little kick, little extra things kicked in there,
Mhm.
make it a nicer deal. But also too, you know when you pick something up and you think, "Man, this rod will probably last longer than I will." I got that feeling about that rod,
Mhm.
so it's like, "Oh." And then, of course, the Mexi Uncle Mexicat had one, and
Mhm.
Lauren fished with it, and she's like, "Dad, I want one of those.
Mhm.
That's fun." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, we'll get you one." I hope they
I
fit
like
and holding the rod holders is nicely too, because the
I
handles
like how
obviously are
they finally put who their pro staff are on the website.
yeah, yeah, did you see where the pro staff did all their holiday picks for Christmas gift ideas?
I see that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I gotta
That's
tell you,
that's cool. That's kind of, it's
I
new.
don't I only know one of them, personally, and I know a couple of the other ones who they are, but I think that's really neat. That I mean,
I'm
that is
surprised by Spencer's
collaboration.
picks.
That is collaboration. That is really, really cool,
Mhm.
and you can tell that they didn't write that for those individuals
Mhm.
because it's all written differently. I believe not. I'm not picking on anybody. I believe Denny's are, 1, 2 sentences straight to the point. And Spencer and I have talked a lot about gear because he loves gear just as much as any other
Mhm.
fisherman does. And the picks that he had, I've heard him say those exact same things because
Mhm.
I had told him that, hey, I'm a carp fisherman trying to chase catfish more this last year.
Mhm.
Last year I fished for carp in April, and then I never fished for them again last year in 2021. I still haven't. And I mean, I'm pretty confident I could go to any body of water and probably, pull out a 10 to 25 pound fish if it's a carp that I'm after. But I can't say that for catfish, so I accepted the challenge and I'm gonna give it a try. Um, but and then it's interesting to see what all those anglers value more than the other items
Mhm.
because
That's what I thought was interesting.
a lot of people say, you know, the bait is for the fish. You got to stick that hook in their mouth
Mhm.
and to haul them up, and then you got the rattle, and you got beads, and you got
Mhm.
beads that glow, and you've got the float, and then you got more rattles, and you've got other little twisty things and things that are shiny silver, things that aren't, things that are this color, that color, all this different stuff. And they're like, well, that might attract the fishermen more than the actual fish.
Mhm.
And some of these people flat out say that stuff in there. They're like,
Oh,
look
yeah.
at this item, look at that item. And yes, one of them even mentioned the breading. And I did cook that breading on some fish last week. And what I will say is that it's a good cornmeal breading. I said it last week too. Kristen is more of a flour or a nice
Mhm.
buttermilk batter,
Mhm.
beer battered fish. But that cornmeal based breading really reminded me of being a kid and eating perch. My mom would cook yellow perch, and it was really good. So I'm looking forward to my next shot at it. I got some different pieces of fish because I'm a catch and release angler. I'm not going
Mhm.
to bring it home, skin it, carve
Come
it up.
on.
No, there's plenty of other fish
Every
that
once in a
are
while.
that are already caught, that are in the store, and I feel that it would be wasteful if I didn't just purchase those. And there are other people that don't have that same ability to go and buy any fish that they want to try out of the store.
Mhm.
They really do go and catch fish so that their family can eat it. So if I put my fish back in the water, maybe they catch that and then they also get their good meal. So I kind of feel like I can talk myself in and out of anything. And that's what I'm saying about this. So
I see that Lauren is on the Whisker Seeker Kids Club
oh
pictures.
yeah. Yep, that's actually my number one goal for 2022. I want Leia to catch her first catfish,
Mhm.
and my number two goal for 2022 is I want Lauren to catch a flathead, and she wants it
I wanna
too.
catch a flathead in 2022. I didn't
It's
catch one in 2021.
really,
Not a one.
oh, that's right. Your dad caught your flathead this year, didn't
Mhm.
he? Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's interesting, and I'm sure you can get that done.
I mean, 2021's not over with, but
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
probably less likely for you to catch one now than do you
the
think? Or
water's
no?
already I think
A little
the
chilly?
river was at 53 degrees today. But I mean, we've caught them in February before, so
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
But then, of course, that would be 2022.
Yeah.
So,
I've had a weird year this year. Like
you've only got 10 days left then is
it's
what
had
I'm
a
saying.
lot of highs and a lot of lows as far as the fish count. But
Hmm,
flatheads, I don't know, man. They're always a fish of mystery to me. And you fish where you think they are, and then well, at least in our neck of the woods,
yeah.
you always try to fish for them where you think they are, and all you find is blue cats.
Huh,
Which I love blue cats. I mean, blue cats are a
yeah,
heck of a fight. They're abundant. You can catch a lot of really good size ones here, and I'm not complaining at all. I mean, most people would kill to catch a 10-pound blue cat, and we
yeah.
catch them and just throw them back like, it's just another 10-pound blue cat. Like, no big deal. And people are like, "Yeah, my PB blue cat's 8 pounds." I'm like, "Oh wow, really? Okay." And it gives you a new perspective. You're like, "Wow, I really am lucky to live in an area like this." And just like you go to Tennessee and those guys, they catch a 50 pounder is like, yeah, it's just another 50 pounder. I'm gonna throw it back in. And you're like, geez, man, my PB is a 52. Oh, really? But I think that's a good note to kind of end on this episode, Mike, is perspective. We talked about perspective as far as picking the right fishing gear. We talked about perspective of what a good deal is. We talked about perspective when it comes to food and what it means to you and what it means to other people. And then here wrapping up, perspective on what's a good fish. So maybe we should have named this some perspectives.
I like it. I like it. I just tried to do what we had talked about. You said, "Hey, man, some of these random thoughts. We had a great chat last
Mhm.
week, and we had a lot of fun." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll start taking notes then when I keep going along here."
And then we
And we
talk
hit,
about like two things on your list.
yeah, yeah. But they were obviously more of the fun ones than not,
hmm
and
That's what it's about, talking about fishing and enjoying the conversation. And I think sometimes having a topic to talk about, a specific topic, limits you,
yeah,
and then you
really
can't
does.
really get out of that zone. If people clicked on a link or listened to a podcast because it said winter fishing tactics, and then you talk about burgers with onions in them. It limits you on what you can talk about, and they're like, "Wait a second,
Oh,
I didn't sign up for this."
yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think
I'm
that's
I'm
awesome.
excited for Christmas. I'm excited
Yeah.
for my kids. We had a great deal this today. Lauren gave her teacher a gift. We try to teach them to not just be there to accept gifts. We try to tell
Mhm.
them what Christmas is really about, how Christmas really began, what it means. My mom teaches them about what Christmas was like for her as a small
Mhm.
child in Mexico. And we also try to really vocalize the value of being around family and friends and enjoying that time. We had talked in the past about how none of that's guaranteed and everything's always
That's right.
changing,
That's right.
and that we really need to be thankful. And I know that people try to focus a lot on that on Thanksgiving, but it's certainly probably been the word for me for 2021 is to be thankful. And I always feel like I take everything for granted, and I don't
Yeah.
say that enough, or I don't tell
We all do,
people that I
Mike.
appreciate this or that enough.
Mhm.
But definitely, it has been a very full year. Like we said, we still got 10 days left to go after we
I'm
get
going
past
fishing
Christmas.
tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, Kevin's on the water. He's gonna
Mhm.
maximize that
Mhm.
time, and I don't think that I can get out to the water until after Christmas. But as
Mhm.
we get closer to my birthday, which is the 28th, and we'll be sure to get everybody the address so y'all can send me, the same Christmas presents I got last year.
Send him don't
But
send him presents, send him discount codes.
yeah, yeah, if you got a code, email me.
"Hey, man, you got
I
that
need
code?"
codes. But I think
"I
that next
got
week,
codes in
even though it's
different
in the
area
30s
codes."
and 40s, I may still go out and give it a try here or there.
Yeah.
I got a couple ideas,
Maybe get
and
you an ice pack.
Kevin challenged me last week. He said, "Hey, man, I know it's cold up there, but give it a shot."
Mhm. Need to get you one of those ice huts.
Yeah, yeah, and a buddy heater.
Yeah, man. I got a
I can
link.
borrow Trisha's. I'll borrow Trisha's buddy heater and get me a few cans of propane and
Yep.
But no, I got some ideas and I want to try some stuff. And even then,
Mhm.
like we said, if you walk to a spot, give it a try for an hour, walk back.
Mhm.
Hey, just cast along as you're walking back. See what
You
you never
might
know.
catch the biggest fish of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not think that I would catch a flathead this year.
Mhm.
I thought that maybe I'd get a shot at it
Mhm.
and all the other fish I'm so thankful for as well. It was so much fun. I
Mhm.
had a great time and I learned a lot. And we got Cat Con, Kentucky staring at us after
Mhm.
we get through the holidays and
Mhm.
rest up a little bit, and the golden whiskers, and it's just gonna keep on chugging along. So
All right. Well, we thank everybody for joining us. Y'all, thank you for listening. Thank you for the Boom Squad members for coming in. Mike, thank you again for doing this show with me. Let's close it out in prayer. And I see we got a prayer request. We'll lift that up as well. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time that we are supposed to appreciate the gifts that you've given us, Lord. We appreciate the reason for this season, which is you. We thank you that God blessed us with his son, that he died for our sins, Lord, and that we may be forgiven through faith in him. Let us not forget that's the reason for the season, Lord. And Lord, as like Mike said, just I pray that everyone would cherish those times with loved ones while they still have them here, and really soak it up, Lord, and take those mental pictures and really cherish that time. Lord, I pray for everyone for their holidays that they be safe and fulfilling. And I pray for those who don't have anything left, Lord, including those in Kentucky that have been devastated by those tornadoes. And I just pray that you would give them a ray of hope and protect them, wrap your arms around them in comfort, and give them some kind of happiness and peace this holiday season, Lord, and especially on Christmas Day. I pray for those who are less fortunate, and I pray that you would pull at the heartstrings of those who are fortunate enough to have what they need, that they would be able to help someone out in need this season. We thank you and we lift you up. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
amen.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Until next time, happy fishing.